This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Tuesday, July 20. In Squiz Kids Today, youngest person ever in space. Sea animals invade Olympics. LeBron slam dunks Black Widow, and the teeny tiny frog patient. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
When you go to bed tonight, do so knowing that when you wake up, a little bit of history will have been made when the youngest person ever makes a trip into space. Assuming the weather at the launch pad in Texas holds out over the next 12 hours or so, 18-year-old Oliver Damon from the Netherlands will make history aboard the New Shepard, a reusable capsule that can climb 100 kilometres to the edge of space. And just to make things extra interesting, clambering into the spaceship alongside him will be the oldest person ever to go into space. Her name is Mary Wallace Funk. She's 82 years old and was a pioneering pilot in the 1960s. Known by her nickname Wally, she passed all the terrifically tough tests that NASA put their astronauts through. But the space agency had no interest in women going to space back then. Fast forward to 2021, and Wally's dream is set to come true, thanks to billionaire Jeff Bezos, who's funding the flight. You might remember last week we talked about the billionaire space race that's taking place, with Tesla's Elon Musk, Virgin's Sir Richard Branson, and Amazon's Jeff Bezos all getting into the space tourism game. The Flying Dutchman, Oliver Damon, who only finished high school last year, was one of almost 8,000 people who took part in an online auction to get a seat on the flight. An auction is when you bid money for something, with the highest bid being the winner. And the winning bid for this particular auction was a whopping $28 million. But then the winner realised they were busy on the day of liftoff, and so Oliver got that person's spot. Did I mention that this historic space flight will last for all of 10 minutes? Yep, that's how much time they'll actually spend in space. $28 million for 10 minutes in space. Wowzers. There's a link in today's episode notes to the New Shepard website.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Tokyo, where preparations for the Olympic Games have been interrupted by a bunch of oysters. Yes, you heard right. Oysters have invaded one of the most important race courses in the Olympics, forcing organisers of the Games to perform a quick clean-up to make sure the racetrack is ready in time for Friday when the Olympics begin. What race course am I talking about? The stretch of water that will host the rowing and canoe events, of course, which in the past month has suddenly attracted a whole lot of oysters, which have attached themselves to floating race markers, weighed them down, and started to make them sink. An emergency operation by Games organisers at a cost of over $1.5 million saw the problem sorted out. On the bright side, the oysters were the kind that lots of Japanese people love to eat. Oysters. I know most of you think they look and taste like snot, but give it time and your tune will change.
Pop Culture Corner.
And in the box office battle between Black Widow and LeBron James, LeBron has emerged the winner, helped along by Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes crew. What in the what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that Space Jam 2, the animated film starring basketball legend LeBron James, has slam-dunked Marvel superhero flick Black Widow at the box office. Now, what do I mean when I say box office? It's an expression to describe how much money a movie makes in ticket sales. Because before the internet, the box office was the place at a cinema that all tickets to a movie were sold. Bron and Bugs' new movie, which is a remake of a movie the Rabbit made with Michael Jordan 25 years ago, made $43 million in ticket sales on its opening weekend in the United States. Gosh, if that's how many tickets they sold, imagine how many Choc Tops got eaten.
Squiz Kids salutes.
And today we send out a massive Squiz Kids salute to the vet in Brisbane who performed a life-saving operation on a green tree frog that was smaller than her thumb. Yes, it's hats off to Brizzy vet Megan Barrow who works for the RSPCA. When one of her nurses brought in a tiny injured tree frog, measuring only 2 centimetres in length and weighing only a couple of grams and a distinct grey in colour, she wasn't sure what she could do to help it. The frog had a little hole in its side and its lung and intestine were poking out. But, using incredibly fine surgical tools and what must surely be incredibly good eyesight and a very steady hand, Dr. Barrow managed to repair the wound and stitch the little froggy back up with one single stitch. A couple of days later and the little fella was hopping around again, happy as a frog in a pond. And his beautiful green colour had returned as well. I've stuck a link to a photo of the little froggy in today's episode notes. Ribbit!
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What's the name of the spaceship that will take the youngest person ever into space? That's right, it's the New Shepard. Question number 2. What sort of sea creature has invaded the Olympic rowing course? You got it, they're oysters. Question number 3. Which US basketball star is in a movie alongside Bugs Bunny? Yeah, it's LeBron James.
Shout-outs.
It's July 20, birthday of Aussie basketballer Ben Simmons and wildlife warrior Terry Irwin. It's also International Chess Day and International Cake Day. I know which one I'll be celebrating. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. TJ from Dubbo, Samuel from Five Dock, Ben from Mount Riverview, Adam from Oxenford, Sally from Harvey Bay, Molly from Mornington, Alexis from Revesby, Mabel from Moorabbin, Clara from Hawthorne, Grace from Kellyville, Jay from Balgowrie, Poppy Lee from Glen Innes, Lachlan from Somerton Park, and Yeet from Victoria. And a couple of belated birthday shout-outs to Jack from Newcastle, Levi from Warners Bay, and Jasper and Lucy from Jindalee. Happy birthday one and all. And because many schools are in lockdown and online classes are once again on the agenda, we're starting a new shout-out segment today called Home Learning Herograms, where teachers or parents wanting to celebrate the good work being done by their kids or classes can send us a shout-out request. And today's Home Learning Herogram goes to Class 4K at Cranbrook Junior School, whose teacher, Mrs. Harricks, says are all doing an excellent job of staying on task. Well done, 4K. Otherwise, today's classroom shout-outs go to Stage 3 students at Darcy Road Public School, Mr. Smith in Class 5S and Mrs. Brown in Class 3B at North Ryde Public School, Mr. Webster's Year 6-7s at Craigburn Primary School, Mrs. Slade's Year 6 class at Bertram Primary School, and Class 6F from Mackay State School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.